Today's urban landscape is a monument to technological innovation. We live, work, and travel surrounded by high-strength, high-tech materials, all intended to make our lives more comfortable and secure. But when something goes wrong, an act of nature, a consequence of our own making, or an event that simply defies explanation, these same materials can quickly become barriers to our very survival. No one is more aware of this than today's fire and rescue professionals.
Yeah, a lot of twisted steel and a lot of sheet metal, a lot of stainless steel.
Rows upon rows of studs and metal lockers and desks. Anything that you typically find in an office building, kind of smashed and thrown in a big pile. We were cutting through it.
You're working in very restricted areas where you can just about move. And you need a good tool that's going to work in those situations that basically is not going to produce a lot of carbon monoxide.
There are not many tools, not many, at least not yet, developed just for the fire service. So we go where the tools primarily have always been used, and that is in construction.
More and more, rescue workers have come to rely on portable electric power tools, originally designed for the construction industry, but adapted for search and rescue applications.
We're carrying them more frequently on our rescue trucks. So whatever call we are called to, we're not trying to make a tool fit. We have the correct tool for the job.
Whether it's a small vehicle extrication outside of some intersection or somebody who's got their hand caught in a factory in some machinery, you know, those little tools play a big role in what we do every day.
Like any tool, however, the effectiveness and safe operation of these portable power tools depends on the knowledge and skills of the person using them.
Everybody knows how to use this drill, they know how to use that saw, they know how to use it because it's just a matter of turn on the switch. If power is there, the tool will do the job. But that's not true. It really takes the people have to learn how to use the tools properly. First, from the safety aspect, because all these tools have a potential danger to them when used incorrectly. And the second is that there's a lot of wasted effort if you don't use the tool correctly, because the tool doesn't get an opportunity to do what it's designed to do.
Every rescue situation is, of course, unique. But in most cases, it will be the material being cut, combined with the environment in which you are working, that will determine the best tools to use.
There's a lot of rescue operations where the rescuer is having to do it vertically above his head, and he's having to do it laying on his back, or he's having to do it crawled into tight spaces.
If you get too big of a tool, you run into a situation where it becomes cumbersome how long you're going to be using that tool. If you get the biggest saw you can find on the stack, but if you're going to be cutting for hours on end, that's not the best tool for the job.
The material rescue workers encounter most often is metal. Often it'll be in the form of a crushed vehicle. But at one time or another, you may be challenged to cut your way through everything from rebar to refrigerators. Probably the most versatile and widely used metal cutting tool is the reciprocating saw, commonly referred to as a sawzall.
And I guess that's a good term for it, the sawzall, because depending on the selection of the blade that you utilize, whether it be length or teeth configuration, that tool is probably proven to be one of the most popular and most efficient and most productive tools for the rescuer to use in almost all elements of rescue.
We use sawzalls in motor vehicle extrication to remove doors, to cut hinges, to remove roofs, A post, B post, C post, and so forth. Bus extrication. You can use it as a wide range that you can use this tool for, providing you use it properly.
Reciprocating saws are not difficult tools to master. But to use them to their fullest advantage, there are a few simple rules you need to follow. First and foremost is choosing the correct blade for the type and thickness of the material being cut. While there are many different types of reciprocating saw blades on the market, only demolition-grade blades are durable enough for rescue work. These blades come in two basic types and with varying numbers of teeth per inch, or TPI. For example, a 10 to 14 TPI metal cutting blade, like Milwaukee's Torch, is the best choice for automobile A and B pillars, body panels, or nader bolts. This blade is also ideal for cutting rebar. For thinner metal, such as HVAC ductwork, metal studs, or sheet metal, you'll get better results with a finer 18 TPI metal cutting blade. General-purpose demolition blades, like Milwaukee's Axe, have much coarser tooth patterns and are intended for thicker, less dense materials like wood or plaster. But with their extra rigidity and pointed tips, these blades can also come in handy when you have to penetrate a sheet metal surface. Another thing to remember is that because of their short blade travel, only a small section of reciprocating saw blades do all the cutting. When a blade begins to dull, readjusting the shoe position will allow fresh teeth to be used. Also, don't forget that reciprocating saw blades are reversible. It's worth taking the time to flip them over when you're in an awkward cutting position.
Depending on the blade that's inserted into that saw, you can cut just about anything, whether it's metal, wood, or whatever.
The two other reciprocating saw features you need to be aware of are variable speed and orbital action. Blade speed is controlled either by the amount of pressure applied to the trigger or on some models with a speed control dial on the handle grip. These controls are there for a reason. Faster is not always better. Higher speeds are fine for wood or other less dense materials, but for metal, you'll actually cut faster and have more control using a slower speed setting. The second control feature, orbital action, is available only on some reciprocating saw models. While selecting this mode will increase the tool's efficiency when cutting wood, for metal, always leave it in the reciprocating position. Reciprocating saws are available in both corded and battery-powered models. Each have their advantages, depending on the rescue environment.
When we were at the Pentagon, the battery power tools were very effective. You don't have cords laid out for people to trip on, and typically we were standing in anywhere from an inch to 8 or 9 inches of water, and a 110 volt system was not necessarily the best application for that environment.
While reciprocating saws can and often are used to cut just about anything, in some situations, a circular metal cutting saw is a better choice because it will allow you to control cut depth. This can be a big advantage when cutting away vehicle or aircraft body panels. And while these tools may look like circular wood saws, don't be fooled by their appearance. When used properly, even this battery-powered model, which uses the same battery packs as cordless sawzalls, can cut through steel plate.
Battery technology has really advanced itself to where it's very efficient. However, you have to have knowledge of the proper techniques and proper usage of that tool in order for that battery technology to be as efficient as it's designed. You can waste a lot of effort, and if you're wasting the effort actually not applying the force in the manner that you're supposed to, then you're losing that battery power rapidly. But the battery-powered tools that are out there today really do a fantastic job in the rescue arena. For example, the Power Hawk.
Similar to the hydraulic jaws of life, but powered instead by a 12-volt battery pack, Curtiss-Wright's Power Hawk is the only tool we'll be discussing specifically designed for rescue work. There are 3 attachments for this tool you need to be familiar with, as each is intended for a different type of cutting or spreading. The cutter blade, for example, is designed primarily for cutting automobile A and B posts, but it can also be used to cut nader bolts or any other type of fabricated steel. For more general-purpose cutting, including plate steel up to a 1/4 inch thick, switch to the straight power blade. By attaching the spreader arm, the tool can be used for prying open doors, hoods, or removing body panels. There's also a pusher ram accessory for use with the spreader arm that can be used to roll automobile dashboards or for any type of jacking or stabilizing.
It can be used in confined spaces. The fact that we are not generating CO with a combustible power source, the fact that it is also very lightweight